everybody. Welcome back to LTF.
We're already recording.
So I do have big news.
Big news. Big news is
We're leaving Florida. But you knew that.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
you know, man.
It's the listening audience
Yeah, that.
that has not been privy to that yet.
Yeah. So, we're going to get back closer to our parents, and we're going to get back to Charlotte. I've actually signed the paperwork to start a new position with my company, and I'm very excited about that, and it's going to allow me to move back to Charlotte. Been doing a lot of traveling, and I'm looking forward to it. To be honest with you, I mean, I like to travel. I don't have, and Evie doesn't have a problem with it either. So it's kind of a unique situation. We've done this since we've been married, from the military through me doing and starting different jobs and going somewhere for a short period of time. But yeah, we're headed back to Charlotte. We're in the process of getting our house ready to be put on the market now. That's why you see me. I'm back in the entry study, I guess what you call it. I don't know. It's just dead space. It'll be filled with some furniture, really. I don't know what you call it. I'm a country boy, dude. It's a four-year, not a foyer.
Right, right.
Oh man. But a lot going on, man. This has been going on for just before we went. Well, actually, what, Todd? About 2 weeks, actually, before we went to Germany
Yes.
back in June. So the end of May, 1st of June.
That's right.
It's been a.
It has been a process. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think this
Yeah, that sounds
through a
good, Todd.
mild. I think this one went through a mild depression for a couple weeks after you told him. He won't admit it, but I know he did.
Yeah, I know I did. And me and John talked about that.
Oh, it's bothered me.
It's going to be no, I mean, what we finally came to rest on is that it's going to be no different, because God fills time and space. He is time and space.
You just won't see each other once a month like y'all do right now for the Gapsmen.
But we see each other right here.
Yeah.
Once a week, usually.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, she knows my passion for this, and you know, she's making sure and an agreement that I have a studio, an actual designated studio. I would like for it to be, if it works out, I'd like for it to be a studio guest house type deal where, you know, the studio is in the same building as if it's exterior, or if it's in a basement or whatever. That way we can have, you know, I can't pay people to come in, but if they can get there, I can feed them and put them up. You know what I'm saying? So, and you all have an open invitation anytime you want to come.
That's right.
And it's amazing how all this has worked. Todd, who was it in one of the Bible studies on Thursday morning? I can't remember if it was Corey, Rooster, I can't remember who it was, but they said they were talking to somebody about starting a Bible study, and they had some guys. They said, I've got a list of guys that I'm pretty sure they'll come. And the guy that he was talking to said, let me challenge you to do something. And he said, what's that? He said, I challenge you to invite people that you don't think will come.
That was Grant Taylor.
That's right. That was Grant. Yep, I remember now. And Grant said he was blown away. He did that, and he was blown away at the results of what happened.
That's it.
So
Are you thinking about doing the same thing when you get to Charlotte?
it's already started. It's
Very good.
already in motion. So just like JJ connected Todd and I, right? So Brian
Yep.
Robinson sent me a message the other day, 6'11" Brian Robinson, said, John, I need to get you connected. He said, I've got a guy in North Carolina that's an unashamed guy. And I said, what? He said, yeah, he's got a construction company and he pastors up there. He said, I don't know if he's still doing the construction thing. I said, if you don't care, reach out to him and see if he'll let you send me his contact information. Man, it was boom, I had it. So I called Mike Foltz is who it is. He has Cornerstone Construction in Winston-Salem, and this is going to blow your mind. And, well, not you all. You all know how God works, so you're not surprised. Maybe somebody out there will be. Anyway, and he said, I pastor Cornerstone Revival Church in Winston-Salem. This guy's just down the road from my dad and mom. And I've already talked to him. And it's like when Todd and I met, it's like you never met it. It's like we'd known each other our whole life. And And I've also talked to a couple of the guys that I worked with about what I want to do is starting a Bible study, and they've reacted well. And when Todd and I first got on, one of them was calling me on my phone. So I'll try to give him a call back later. But anyway, everybody, it's happening, man. I mean, and Amanda, the way I feel about it is, I feel that God had to bring me down here so I could go back.
I can see that. Sometimes he's got to take you out of what you're in so that you can see what you were in.
Yeah,
That's it.
So I can see that.
So,
man, go ahead, Todd.
this morning we were talking about Luke 17. And I kind of been thinking about that whole mustard seed. If you have faith from Luke 17:6, if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it will obey you. So we just had somebody speaking 17 verse 6.
All right, keep going.
Just last night we had somebody who was talking about this exact mustard seed. Her point
was, when you are at times in your life where things are not exactly going the way that you want it to go, the way you feel it's supposed to go, that's the time when you have to abide the most. And you can't abide if you don't have that mustard seed type faith. So, and she was in a situation where she had to literally take her hands off of the wheel, lean in and say, whatever it is you want me to do or need me to do, I will do it. And I won't question it. I may not like it, but I will do it. And she was able to do that because she had just enough faith to know that he would take care of things the way that he needed them to get taken care of. And I think that's what you and Evie have done with moving down here and staying for a little while, and now you're going back home and you're basically letting him guide this bus, especially with the way things have fallen into place for you all the way they have. That's been nothing more than him guiding it, I think.
But to get to this Luke 17 and the mustard seed, she was in James 1, 2 through 8. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives it generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But pay attention. When you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. And that section of scripture landed her on the mustard seed. She said the funny thing about the mustard seed, yes, it's tiny. It's the size of the end of a pin, the very tip. I mean, just tiny.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, what makes up a mustard seed? It's 100% mustard seed. There's no extra ingredients. There's no added anything. It's 100% mustard seed. So our faith has to be exactly that way. It has to be 100% faith in him. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing added, nothing taken away, only faith in him. Then his brother, I'm going to say the book of James is James, the brother of Jesus.
Yeah, it's brother Jesus.
Fairly certain. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds.
And the reason you can consider it pure joy is because you know you're not facing it by yourself.
There you go. And because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance or patience.
Well, John may not be able to follow right now, baby, because he's got that King James Version Bible over there. So it doesn't read this.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
One of the girls and one of the leaders in my Awaken group, she's a King James Version girl. She's only 26 years old, and she just can't read anything but that. So you and her would be good buds.
Hey, listen, if you can grow up where I did and learn hillbilly,
And still read King James? That's saying something.
yeah, that's just this far short of a miracle.
I still say, you know, everybody talks about the Bible times and the miracles and signs and wonders, but they're here now. There's three on this that everybody's watching. There's three. There's one there, and there's one over there, and one here. Walking, talking miracles that the power of God still moves and is active today. Somebody brought up the fact, she asked me out of the last recording when she watched it. She said, "Why were you so uncomfortable?"
I've never seen him that uncomfortable.
He didn't seem uncomfortable to me.
He was. I guarantee you his feet didn't stop moving the whole time he was recording with you.
But the thing is there's, we talk about community and accountability, but it's people who have it in place. We do have that accountability relationship in place, and there was my accountability partners that had not had I had not had a chance to have conversation with when that was recorded, and I
Okay.
knew it. I knew I had not, and I knew it would it was set to release before I would have the opportunity. So I was sitting in a very uncomfortable place
And it got
going,
postponed a week. Not necessarily on purpose, but
but God held it. The conversation was had, and then it released.
people don't.
Facing trials of many kinds.
Right. And we were having a conversation, on the phone the other night. It's funny you said we should be recording. And Amanda was actually part of that conversation. And when we were talking about faith, and my mind doesn't wander, but I just feel like the Holy Spirit puts things on my heart to make me ponder and to make me really think deep about what's happening, why it's happening. But I was in a conversation, and I would say it was with Curtis, and gosh, John MacArthur had passed away, and Jimmy Swaggart had passed away. And Curtis had made he made the statement, that he wasn't necessarily a big John MacArthur fan. And I'm not going to go into why, but anyway, that struck up a conversation between, he liked him. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it was a personal thing.
Right.
So anyway, it brought up the conversation of faith and healing.
Right.
And did miracles cease to happen with the apostles or the disciples? And I'll just keep my opinion, because I'm not a theologian, but I know what I believe. I believe miracles still happen today, but I think Christ's death on the cross changed a lot of that. I think there was a reason why the 12, including Paul, which would be 13, because we don't know if Judas actually did anything or not while he was walking with Christ before he betrayed him.
No, he just caused trouble.
We don't have much of a recording in any of the churches or anything of any of that happening after the book of Acts.
Right.
So, but do I believe miracles still happen today? Absolutely. And somebody may say, well, so I asked Curtis, I said, so what does the Bible say that we need to have to get a miracle? And we talked about that this morning in Bible study, Todd. It's like, boy, this is amazing. And they said faith. Well, whose faith? Well, our faith can heal us, but also if our faith can heal others too.
That's right.
So stick with me, people. I'm trying to say this in a way to where Amanda doesn't hit me through the screen. Because I know what's coming. So in Scripture it says, if we believe in the Lord Jesus Christ with all our heart and have faith, it's through faith we receive salvation. Through faith we're healed, right? So if we don't have enough faith, or our faith isn't enough to heal, for someone to be healed or for us to be healed, then is that enough to cause somebody to feel like they don't have enough to where they actually feel saved because they can't do those things? I mean, I think it's a legitimate question. I mean, faith is faith. I mean, and
Right.
you just read right here in Luke, where it said, in Luke 6, where it says, if you have the faith of a grain of a mustard seed.
Yep.
Now, that's about the size of my brain. No, I'm just joking. Evie's going to come in here and hit me or something because she hates it when I do that. But
Well, yeah.
that's small of faith. Whose faith? So, and here's one. Whose faith healed the guy? Whose faith took the man and put him through the roof into Christ when they couldn't get to him?
His and his friends, his community.
His community.
His buddy did. His buddies
Yeah.
did. They tore the roof off.
Right.
There's others I just can't think of them. My mind is blank.
That's where it comes into play with the to abide with Jesus. You need to surround yourself with like-minded people.
That's true.
Like-minded.
Because, and I say this because when you're facing a really tough situation and through the worldly eyes, you do not see a way out of it. You just don't see how you're going to be able to make it through it. That's why you need your community, because they make you stop seeing how you're going to get through it, and they make you see how God's going to get you through it. They are there to help encourage you, and the more faith they're showing, it boosts yours up. It's like they're your hype. They're your hype people.
There you go. Go back to something that you heard somebody in your community say.
Yeah, I mean, they hype you up. It's like, well, I just don't know. But when you've got your brothers and sisters there reminding you of what he has done, can do, will do, that kind of crushes your worldly outlook. And even if it doesn't happen the way that you think it should in your mind, you are okay with what happened because your faith was stronger when you went into it. So it makes you more acceptable to the outcome, I think.
Right.
So.
You know how I know not everybody's supposed to get a miracle?
Yeah. How's that?
Why did Christ not heal everybody to pool of Bethesda?
Go ahead with where you're going.
If everybody got a miracle, it wouldn't be a miracle.
There wouldn't be a story. There wouldn't be a Messiah to talk about.
That's like when they were walking by, was it the blind man, the lame man, and the disciples asked him, they talked about that this morning too, Todd, and said, why is this man in the situation that he is? And did his family sin? Did he sin? And Christ said, no, this man was born this way so that the Father may be glorified in him.
That's right.
So sometimes things happen to us. Lo and behold, I did reach out to Corey. I haven't heard back about talking about the Neville kids. That was a tragedy where those kids in that hunt camp lost their life. But through that tragedy, God's ended up getting the glory through it all.
That's right.
And look what he's doing. So it could be car accidents. It could be sudden death. It could be, it could be anything. It could be divorce. It could be addiction. Name it. Name it. So go ahead.
We're talking about signs, miracles, and wonders. And I've got to land the same place I did when we had this conversation. John 14:12. Jesus' words, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing. And they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. Yes, entirely. I have to land completely on signs, miracles, and wonders still happen because we are his disciples. And he tells us right there, greater things than what he did, we will do for the glory of the Father, because that's where he's at now. We walk in community and people see such a difference that they become curious. And then they sit down and you start having conversations, and you continually, this conversation turns to that, and that conversation turns to another. But in Acts 4, Peter and quit looking around, quit guessing, just turn to it. Peter and John are under trial, and 4:13 says, when the people who were giving them a hard time, the same ones that Jesus was there battling throughout his ministry, when they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished, and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. So,
And that hyped them up. They're hype people. Peter and John became their hype people. They saw it. They recognized the God within them.
and that's how the signs and miracles and wonders are still happening now. People see the Jesus within you, and they realize that you're unschooled, ordinary people. No theology, no seminary school, just a Bible and his ability for us to read and ask him for enlightenment on what we read. And then it goes forward from there.
So I typed in, what is a miracle according to the Bible?
Okay.
In the Bible, a miracle is typically understood as an extraordinary event that transcends the unusual course of nature, and it's attributed to the direct intervention of God. It's an act where God's power, often described as supernatural, which there is a difference, I believe, is visibly manifested in the physical world. These events serve as signs of God's presence, power, and divine will, often confirming a message or purpose.
All right. I mean, I'm looking in my concordance at miracle as it's stated, an unusual event, one that goes against the normal laws of nature. Miracles are done by the power of God, period. God's still active. He's still in control. I have to land completely on they still happen.
I know they do.
Well, they have to. Now, how do you explain people going in getting a CT scan and being eat up with cancer and go back just a few weeks later and the doctors say, I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's not there.
John, we went through it with Zachary. When Zachary was 12 or 13, they discovered that his hearing was about gone in his left ear or his right ear. I can't remember. But anyways, one of them two. The hearing was about gone, and then he was losing partial hearing in the other ear. So we went to 2 different otolaryngology doctors to check his hearing, and they all came up. They all came up with the same thing.
Audiologist, that's what it is.
Yeah. So then they wound up sending us down to University of Miami, the Miami Children's Hospital. And we went in that day, and now he had had 5 hearing tests at this point. So we went in to the Children's Hospital. They did another hearing test, which that was the 5th one. He had had 4, and that was the 5th hearing test. He went in, they did a CT scan to check some things. They had all the reports. We had every single report with us from all the other doctors. And after spending half the day there, having the CT scan, doing more hearing tests, the doctor walks in, he sits down in front of us, and Jody was there. You can ask Jody about this because he was my chauffeur in Miami because I refused to drive down there. Anyways, the doctor walks in, he sits down, and he goes, I don't know what to say here, but there has been nothing more than a miracle. He says, because all of the hearing tests that I have that you brought with you shows that this boy is losing his hearing. But then this test that I did today and the CT scan that we did, his hearing is perfect.
Wow.
He says, I don't understand how it has lined up the way it has. He goes, but from what you brought with you and what happened today, it doesn't match. And Zachary sat right there and he says, I'm going to tell you what happened. And at this point, I didn't have the children going to church. I didn't teach them about God. We weren't living that life. Now, my boss lady, though, she was an avid, she loved her some God. She would cuss you out before the day was out, and then she'd apologize and tell God she'd try again tomorrow. But every day, she had an hour of prayer time. She was very adamant about it. She prayed over my son like every day. And she sat there and told the doctor, Zachary told the doctor, what happened was my mama's boss prayed over me and God healed my ears. And the doctor said, there is no other explanation because he had it in black and white and it didn't match.
Wow.
So yes, miracles happen. And when they don't happen, you have to be okay with it. You have to get to a point where you have to understand that there's a reason why now was not your time. You know, now was just not your time. Like okay, so you find out you've got cancer and you don't want to go through chemo, radiation and all that. You're praying every day, God heal me, God heal me. And he doesn't yet. You might be the one person that's sitting next to somebody else in the chemo room getting your treatment, and you're sitting next to the unbeliever who has nobody, who's alone, who doesn't know about God. And with you spending time next to them, you're able to talk to them, show them God, pray with them, love on them, show them his love, bring them to him, which helps them carry on with their illness until they're healed.
Right.
You know, so it's, I think about situations like that. Maybe there's a reason why now is not the time, because he needs you to help somebody else who's experiencing what you are. And you have to be okay with that. And if you can't be okay with it, then you're not ready to love God truly.
You know, I'm sure you all probably heard it too. I don't know how many times. I mean, especially when I did hospital visitation and home visit, shut-in visitation. I don't know how many times I've heard, I just don't understand why God won't heal me. I don't understand why God won't heal me. I don't understand why God won't heal me. Well, my thing is this, and this might be kind of morbid. I don't know. I didn't say that to anybody. But the question I pose to people, how many of those that Christ healed physically, not spiritually, physically, are still alive today? Zilch.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
not talking about after he ascended. I'm talking about while he was on earth.
Right. While he was walking.
While he was walking, they
Right.
still met their ultimate faith. Even though he gave them, that was a temporary physically healing, because their body was still headed to the grave. It was still decaying because it's in a
Well,
sinful world.
that's no different than Lazarus.
Yep.
Yeah, he rose on from the dead, but he
He,
still died. He went back.
Lazarus, what he did come
If he's
forward.
still walking on the earth right now, not even nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I tell Eddie, and I don't want this to sound terrible. Depending on if I would ever develop cancer, it would depend on the cancer that I had. But if it's something that I've got to take chemo or radiation for the rest of my life, I'm done.
Quality of life comes in.
Yes. And because all I'm doing is I'm postponing the inevitable. I've got the greatest miracle that God has ever given me, could ever give me. And that is eternal life through his son, Jesus Christ, who died for me on Calvary.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why suffer here? Paul, what did Paul say? Hey, to live is
To live,
Christ, but to die is gain.
die is gain. That's right.
And, but while I'm here, I don't want to waste what I have either.
Right.
And as bad as that 20-year hiatus or desert experience that I had, as bad as I hate that, I still feel that was a very significant time that I look back on now that I can use going forward.
Jon, is your relationship with him stronger now than it was before that 20-year hiatus?
I
Do
hope so.
you feel like you have more of a closeness to him now? You more of a yearning for him than you did then?
I think that I was the difference in me now and the difference in me then is what I was seeking. I was seeking men's approval through the ministry and not God's approval. Now I don't care what man thinks about me. I take that back. Yeah, I do. It still bothers me. But I don't do what I do for their approval.
Right.
I
Right.
do what I do because I want God's approval.
First.
Yeah, because when I stand at the great white throne of judgment and the book of life is open, I'm not going to stand before anybody else except for Jesus. That's who I'm going to stand before. He's the one that's going to judge me. I don't want him to look at me and say, Jon, I wish you'd have been thinking about me judging you instead of that cat or that cat or that cat or that cat.
Right.
I'm the only one that ever mattered. I don't want to hear that. But to
Well,
answer your question, yes, in a lot of ways, yes. I have a community now that I never had then. I thought I did, but I never had anywhere close to the community. If I would have had the community then and the discipleship then that I've received over the last 5 years, that desert place would have never happened. because a Todd Langdon or a Gordon Dasher or a Burley or a Dane Jennings or a J.J. Solis or a J.R. Fix or a Corey Taylor would have knocked on my door, and when I'd opened it, they'd have said, look here, I'm going to tell you one thing, dude. Suck it up, Buttercup. Let's get after it.
That's right.
You're not, you weren't pastoring that church to please me. You were pastoring that church to please God. He shut her down. Now let's go find the next good thing he's got going on.
That's right. Well, that goes straight into the. I've been posting on the side. A lot of nobody listening can see this, but through the chat that goes in the studio, I've been posting scriptures that we've referenced so far, and I've just posted another one, and that's Psalms 46:10. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." It's pretty cut and dry.
But a lot of the problem with people today who they don't know how to be still in Him.
That's right.
They want to be still and try to figure out. They want to call their name. But what would you do if this was you? Or they're going to call their best friend, and what would you do? Or how would you handle this? They don't know how to be still in Him. And that is hard.
Abide.
Yeah, abiding, but
It's the old.
you started to be still, John, when everything went south. When you were being still in you were being still in the world, and well, what did I do, and why did this fall apart, and why this, instead of being still and letting Him tell you this is where we're going. And when you don't have community around you to encourage you to be still in Him, then that's why things fall apart the way they do. I was serving God. I was attending church 27 years ago. If those church doors were open, I was there. If they had week-long Bible camp, morning, noon, and night, I took my vacation from work one time so I could serve and be there to help serve the lunches and be a part of all the ministries. I mean, I did build some friendships, but I didn't build a godship. So when things in my life started to fall apart, I didn't have Him to lean on. I just was leaning on everybody else, and none of them were from the church that I was leaning on, and my life fell apart. Things went south real quick. Now, since it's been almost 5 years with Him, we've learned how to build a relationship. And I know Todd has probably told you, had he have not been in relationship with God right now, we would not be married.
Nope.
We'll be married.
That's why this conversation about miracles, there's a miracle sitting here that He has held together, but only He could hold it together. Did it take me focusing on the circle that touches my toes and my heel? Yes. Did it take her learning to focus on the circle that touches her toes and her heel? Yes. In the meantime, it left both of us only looking to Him. And through that has drawn us closer together than we have ever been.
Got an example for you. Have you told him about this?
Go
About
ahead.
how that happened last Sunday when you talked to your community, and I didn't know you were going to?
No, go ahead.
So you know what he and I have been dealing with, and I have not been in a good place with it. I've been trying to be in a good place, but had not been in one. I was in a place of, do I stay or do I go? He knows this. Are we going to be able to make it through it? And I'm trying to find something I wrote, so just bear with me.
So while you're trying to find the ship that you were missing, we talk about it on here a lot. It was discipleship.
Yes.
That's what you were missing.
Yep.
And that discipleship and relationship, the discipleship with your community and those who are in your life, and the relationship that the two of you have with the Heavenly Father is what has held that cord of three strands together in your marriage.
That's right.
If you would have missed one of those cords, it would have
fallen
broke.
apart.
Yep.
Well, and also too, we're comfortable in our community that we're in because we are all a like-minded community. The community I was a part of at that time was one who was more worried about the way things looked to people from the outside in. They didn't care about
The inside out.
the inside out. And so I wasn't building a good community, one that I felt could lift me up whenever something goes wrong. So
You may just have to talk it out.
no, because I can't remember the exact words.
The thing that I was missing where I was it was a matter of the organization just wanted to have somebody that they could
A
say is
body.
pastoring the church. They wanted a warm body there, regardless of what the state of the church was in, and didn't send any help, no discipleship, no normal meeting. I'll tell you what I got out of it was I had one of my best friends at the church where we were going before we started to pastor was the worship leader. His name was Paul Holbrook. The man was phenomenal. Anyway, I guess he and the pastor had fallen out. Who he said was the pastor said he was my mentor. I didn't know that he was. I don't think now that I know what a mentor is, he wasn't no mentor. I had no idea they had that they had any problems. They'd fallen out. Well, after I went to pastor, I had another one of my best friends that I actually worked with. Me, him, and Paul were great friends. Well, David's birthday was coming, and I had David come over so we could do like a surprise birthday thing, and I had David to do a Wednesday night service on worship. And Paul came over and did worship, led worship for us, and I went to Charlotte that next week and got a phone call from the district superintendent saying that my former pastor mentor said he's not going to be my mentor anymore because I had Paul Holbrook over there and did worship. He couldn't call me and talk to me. That's how small these people are. Go ahead, man.
So anyways, so I had been struggling for a while. And when all this came up with Todd and my first thing I said to him was, you will not talk about this with anybody in the church. And my reason for that was because I didn't want anybody to look at him as unsafe. And I just didn't want anything within our community there to change. I know how the community at another church would handle it, but I didn't know how this community would. So I broke my rule and talked to one of one of the other leaders of my group and broke down and told her what had been going on. And she basically handed it to me and said that I was wrong for not allowing him to speak with anybody about it because he needed community to surround him and lift him up and help him at this moment. And I said, well, he has his friend, Jon, and I know he's talked to Jon, and she says he needs his community here as well, and you're not letting him have that, and therefore he's not healing. I felt this big when she told me that because I hadn't thought about it. It just never dawned on me. So I came home and told him what she said, and things were still rough for about 2 weeks. After that, things were not good. So 2 weeks ago, I was at the altar at church during praise and worship, and I was just being still after I got done dancing around the church. Then I decided to go stand still at the altar and let God talk to me. And just praying, and looking for direction and how do we get through this. And what he said to me was, I'm going to speak it and claim it. My marriage is restored. The trust is restored. The love is restored. No more doubt, no more worry, no more hiding. God has brought us through this. The flesh will not break what the Spirit has put together. We will ring the bell of surrender together, surrendering all guilt, doubt, untrustworthiness. We will make our marriage His. So I sit down from the altar and I write this down and I slid it over to Todd. And he sits there and reads it, and he just looks at me after he's reading it. Didn't say anything. So prior to this, in between second and third service, he was walking around in the foyer looking for someone, and I was like, well, who are you looking for? He says, it's all right, I'll find them. I said, okay. So I never knew who he was trying to talk to. So after the third service was over, he came up to me, and we went ahead and went over to the bell, and we rang the surrender bell, And when we did that, we had, I don't even know how many people, Jon, came over there and hugged us and loved on us, prayed over us, and they did not know what was going on. None of them knew but one person, and she wasn't even in that group that was praying over us. They had no clue what was happening, but they knew that we needed our community. And just having our community there to love on us and pray us through whatever it was we had going on. And they didn't even need to know what it was. They just knew they needed to be there. So after that, Seth says to Todd, well, Pastor's over there in the office. Are you ready to go talk? When Seth said that, I thought Todd had already talked to them about what was going on. And he had not. Todd had made arrangements prior to third service with Seth to go and him and our pastor talk about our situation. And Todd finally went in there and confessed everything to them that had been going on. So I feel like God gave me that word and made me okay with this, because he knew that if Todd had gone in there, even though I gave him permission to go talk to the community, he knew that I probably would have spiraled and melted knowing Todd was in there telling them our business. So he worked it all out in his timing with our community, with us. When I finally decided, Jon, to just abide in him and just let him do what he needed to do, how he needed to do it, that's when things came together. And that was just within an hour's period of time. When I quit walking around and, well, what am I going to do? God, what are we going to do? Is what I turned it into. But anyways.
It's Mark 10:9. What therefore
Mark,
God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
that's right.
Man, I tell you, it's what I was having a conversation with Evie one day this week, and I just felt like when I was out at work driving between customers that because I've, been worried about my kids and, you just worry about your kids. And God finally said, Jon, you got to let go, dude. You got
Yep.
to let go. There's nothing you can do.
Are you going to try to control the situation, or are you going to let him control the situation?
Well, but when you think about what just happened to you, it's no different. It's a different situation, but it's the same application. Are you going to try to hold on to this and fix it, or are you going to let go and let God have control of it? And then look what happened when you let go and God got a hold of it. Then he can heal it. But as long as you're keeping it wrapped up in an ace bandage and walking around in a sling, he can't do anything for you. But now if you take it to him and take it all out and say, here, now fix it for me, he can fix it.
And he did. And he did. But it wasn't until I finally said, all right, we're going to do this your way. But I just need you to show me what that is.
The whole thing lands right here. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and will bring you back from captivity.
And when you don't give it up to him, you're basically keeping yourself in captivity. Wow. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something I learned about the book of Jeremiah.
Right?
You can't appreciate that whole book, 50-some chapters, without finishing it off with the 5 chapters of Lamentations.
Okay.
Because what he does in Lamentations is he writes there's 5 chapters there, and basically he's writing about his experience during the 50 chapters of Jeremiah that he wrote.
Okay. All right.
And I'm telling you, it's heartbreaking, man. I mean, Jeremiah went through it, man. I mean, that cat got put through the ringer, man.
Absolutely. Right, that verse that I've been going to for almost 2 years now lands in Jeremiah 33 at verse 3. Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. No, I don't know, God, but you will show me and we'll just walk through it.
But man, what you and Todd have been experiencing, I'm sure that both of you have experienced a certain amount of embarrassment, probably.
Absolutely.
But I have a word substitution for that word. Does that make sense? A word substitution for that word?
Makes complete sense.
It's the Boone County in me coming out. It's called humility, true humility.
Well, we have asked God to help us become stewards who can help others.
That's right.
going through this, it's something like this. That way they don't feel like they are alone, and that way they don't have to be embarrassed. They don't have to be ashamed. We can help lead them to God, show them how to hit their knees, how to hit their knees together. They're going to have their time apart, with God, and they're going to have their time together with God, So we've asked him to kind of help us figure out, because I told Todd standing here at the kitchen counter one day, I said, is it possible that we're going to use this as a way to another type of ministry to build for couples who are enduring stuff like this?
Yep.
Because if we don't have that in place here, it's not been needed. So anyways, 2 Timothy 2, chapter 2, verse 2, and the things you've heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, and trust to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others. Well, you can't be qualified if you've not been through it.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. When Todd and I sat down and talked in his shop when I was there, I was the last person that would ever shed condemnation or look down because I've been there.
But that's why I was okay with him talking to you about it. It's like I made the comment. We know of a community that's experienced this, have had people in their community that's experienced it, so we know how they do. I did not know what was going to happen here. Were we going to get pushed out of leadership? Were we going to get, what was our discipline going to be? What was going to happen?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. He that is without sin cast the first stone.
If you can hear me, John, we lost sound again.
Huh.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
It was kind of just like this. Yeah, what's up?
So I can hear you.
Right.
And that's what happened last time. Curtis and I could hear you, but you couldn't hear us.
Well, I don't know. I know we're still recording, so we can hear you now. Maybe the recording has both sides. So we'll just keep going.
Well, you're on the phone though.
Well, if my mic is picking it up, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, but we're at an hour. We're just over an hour. If you all want to, we need to try to figure this out though.
I know.
Seems like it happens right at the hour mark.
Yep.
So maybe something you want to look and see for something in your program on your side that ends it at an hour or something. A timer.
That's beyond my pay grade, John.
Maybe this thing can only handle you for an hour, bro.
There is that possibility. A new thing's being done. I don't know.
Well, I tell you what. Don't get off yet because we have to make sure everything downloads. But hey, everybody, listen. You see old 18 on here. Go check them out. Get you some fishing gear. Go see old Brian Robinson at 611 Armory, and go check out Chad at forerunnerproductions.com. The music of Eric Zahn's got 2,200 views so far.
Right.
And so it's doing really well. But anyway, everybody, we love you. We're recording with Larry Bowles on Saturday, and we got to get this figured out before then. Because
we may end up having to do is at 55 minutes, hit the pause button. Let that one load and start over again.
We can stop. I'll just stop it and then start, and I'll put part one on there. I'll stop it and put part two so Chad can pull them together.
Right.
Thanks for letting me hang out with you all night.
Hey, anytime you got an open invitation, you can do
that. You've already been.
I know.
But it's the rarity of having the extra time or fitting in the time. That's the thing. Whenever she gets in from work on the days when we come home from work and not to the building, she don't get home till 6:30. So that's late.